The Matrix creators then and now, looking like Shrek and Ogre. Well, maybe it's because they're not the creators of the Matrix. They stole the patents for it. They stole everything, bro. Copy and paste format into a movie from Sophia Stewart. Sophia Stewart created Terminator and the Matrix, and that was a Aboriginal melanated sister. An interview recently within the past year with Art of Dialogue, somebody that's more like a recent podcaster that you could go tune in with and get the story of what happened with the Matrix and the Terminator in like this format version of it. But I'm pretty sure she's been speaking on this for. But her breaking down that Matrix, man, that shit was like, you channeled that shit. But she must have been studying ancient texts.
Did you know that The Matrix was actually written by the then Wachowski brothers, who are now Wachowski sisters?
Yes.
And The Matrix was actually about the trans existence. It was a metaphor for the trans existence. Of course, they couldn't really talk about that back then, both with themselves and with the film. In fact, Keanu didn't even know that and found out many years later in a press release that that's actually what the film was about.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
I'm glad that people are talking about the movies, the Matrix movies, with a trans narrative. I love how meaningful those films are to trans people and the way that they come up to me and say, these movies saved my life, because when you talk about transformation, specifically in the world of science fiction, which is just about imagination, it's like, and world building, and like, the idea of the seemingly impossible becoming possible, I think is like, that's why it speaks to them so much. And I'm grateful that I can be a part, throwing them a rope to help them along their journey.
You're a liar. You're a liar. You're a liar.
They didn't know the word The Matrix was a 7,000-year Latin word, 7,000-year Latin word for the woman's womb, and that it was mentioned 5 times in the Bible, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, he who opens the matrix, open up this womb, or his, including the female animals, because all the female animals birth. The cows birth the baby cows. Do you see the goats, the babies? All of the female animals do the same process as the female living beings upon the earth. Females, not males.
Now, you know, as you just laid that up and pretty much have been doing that for the last 10 minutes or so about showing that, yo, I'm the real deal when it comes to this Matrix. Like, those other folks ultimately took your work or used it.
So it's been reported that the film The Matrix and Terminator were edited just enough to sort of escape a copyright infringement case. So this is really important. One of the reasons why some people still say she's lying and that this was debunked was because the $1 billion copyright infringement lawsuit that Sophia filed in 2003 was dismissed in June 2005, after the judge ruled that Stewart and her attorneys had failed to produce evidence to support her claims. But these attorneys were literally found to be conspiring with Warner Brothers, and she filed a lawsuit against them, who repped her in this $1 billion case for breach of contract, malpractice, among other things. This was in 2014, and she actually won that case. So you're telling me her lawyers who repped her were in cahoots with the very same giant that she was suing, and you still think no foul play was involved? Why would they go through that trouble unless they stole her IP, period? The ones who do a 5-second Google search and claim that she's lying, you guys gotta work on your critical thinking skills, for real. Like, come on now. I'm a filmmaker. This is exactly why all my stuff is copyrighted in a company. That's the only way. Like, my company holds my IP. That's it. There were actually people in the studio networks that claimed that her work was being used in various pre-production meetings as a template for The Matrix and The Terminator. It would like guide the direction that they would take with these films in these meetings. This is not uncommon. There are unfortunately a lot of loopholes, and we know how evil Hollywood is. Like, they've done a lot worse things than copyright infringement. Sophia even predicted our collective awakening in 2024. She saw the day when we would see the truth about Hollywood, about our conditioning, about our programming. She saw it all. She is the Oracle.
People's consciousness will shift and they will go on to create and do better things. They won't be in bondage. And this is the whole purpose of the Matrix and Terminator and the new work that's coming, Matrix. Because man wants to be free. Look, everybody loved the Matrix and Terminator because it woke them up. They didn't even realize they were in the dream.
To be honest, I don't give a damn what you think about her and if you think she's lying or not. I don't know who can speak this eloquently, that much wisdom about the Terminator and the Matrix to not be the creator. Like, where was this energy from the Wachowski sisters? Where was it? So Warner Brothers' parent company is AOL Time Warner, and this giant owns 95% of the media, so you can make your own connections as to why you haven't seen this in the media. They own New York Times, LA Times, CNN News, People Magazine, Entertainment Tonight, HBO. The list goes on and on, you get it.
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to tell people there were 3 court cases, and I won the other 2 court cases, but they won't report it at all. They got all these trolls on the internet still talking about the 2005 RICO case. It was a criminal case that I initiated because the government failed to protect my copyrights. This work came from my copyrighted script and copyrighted book in the 80s while I was at USC. And they adapted it to the screen in all these movies you saw, except for the last one, Matrix Regurgitation, Resuscitation, bringing something back that's dead, or Resurrection has nothing to do with my work.
This is the moment for you to show us what is real right now. You believe it's 7:12 p.m. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Could be. This is the first day of the rest of your life. But if you want it, you gotta fight for it.
Do you remember how you got here? You've lost your capacity to discern reality from fiction. What's real is here and now. 7:08 p.m. Anything else is just your mind playing tricks on you. It becomes a problem when fantasies endanger us. We don't want anyone to get hurt, do we?
This is the moment for you to show us what is real right now. You believe it's 7:09 p.m. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Could be. This is the first day of the rest of your life. But if you want it, you gotta fight for it.
Man, this is some bullshit! Who's this man?
So when you go to court, and when I went to court, I was suing for money and damages. I didn't have to prove I was the owner of the Matrix and Terminator. All I had to do was put in 96 pieces of evidence to claim the money. They adapted my Third Eye Matrix and Terminator book and with the script with the same name into these movies and films that you guys are enjoying.
What the Matrix represents for some people, because you mentioned it, and we're gonna definitely open that whole conversation up, is like the idea of wokeness, being woke. And it does seem that there is a wokeness about yourself. The Third Eye was the book that was at the heart of this conversation. It was something that you wrote that is now seen as something that was taken from the Terminator and the Matrix took something out of that particular book. What happened?
That's not correct what you're saying. Let me correct you so people won't be mimicking rumors, because a lot of people are just reading stuff off of the internet. But if you really want to know the facts about me, you need to go to the archives and read the real media archives, what they've written about me, because they have to put the truth in this media documents and stuff. It documents facts. The courts documents facts. They did not take my copyrighted book or my copyrighted script. What they did was a licensing deal without paying for it. They adapted my Third Eye, Matrix, and Terminator book, and with the script with the same name, into these movies and films that you guys are enjoying. And when they could not duplicate or get any more, what I would say, eclipse, because only the creator can eclipse the work and carry on. If Picasso was here now, you would be getting more Picassos. But all anybody can do now is mimic and copy off of Picasso's work. But they can't eclipse it because they're not the creator of the work. I was looking for George Lucas at the time. While I was at USC, I skipped high school. I'm a prodigy. Prodigies, we crack codes. We're polymaths. Geniuses are one aspect of knowledge, but the prodigies are like 12-year-old girl. She's got a college degree, and she go work for NASA, but she's 12 years old. So we prodigies, we don't need school. I was reading and writing prolifically at 3 years old, or with fully conscious. In fact, I scared my grandmother. She had made something for me to eat because there was a very bad electrical storm and the lights had blackened out. Everybody was in a blackout, and she was worried about me eating. And so she fixed something. And now I'm like 3 or 4 years old, not in school yet. And I walk up to her, because I remember it if it was yesterday. And I said, "What did you feed me?" And she said, "What?" I said, "What did you feed me?" Because I've never tasted that taste before. And she said, "That's impossible for you to even ask me that." I said, "What do you mean?" She said, "You were only a baby. You were just this little baby on the bed." But I didn't even know that, because I didn't even feel that I even had a body. I saw the storms. I can see it now, like remote reviewing. She was pacing and all nervous and scared, but I didn't have any idea that I was just a baby, not even walking, just a baby laying there. Do you see how fully conscious I am, and not knowing I even had a body? So it's always been that way with my knowledge. And I think it comes from my Cherokee side, because my grandmother was a shaman and I'm a shaman. So the knowledge that I'm giving in the Matrix and Terminator, no one had ever experienced that knowledge before. It's 100 years ahead. A Terminator, artificial intelligence, looking like us, wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed. Before I brought in this concept that changed the whole paradigm of the world, everybody was doing H.G. Wells, and H.G. Wells, science fiction writer, also a prodigy. He had the old metal clankety clank, these metal robots that you saw in Star Wars, Star Trek, Lost in Space. They were all still creating all these metal robots. I saw Star Wars when I was a little kid in Harlem at the Apollo Theater, because we used to go to the Apollo every weekend to see all the great acts and stuff. The Sutton brothers owned it at that time. And so they made money during the day and the night. In the daytime, it was like a movie theater. And this is 1977, a little kid, I see Star Wars. And I interpreted Star Wars as a biblical movie or franchise called Star Wars. Look at Star Wars, the wars in heaven. And look, Darth Vader, the devil, how he fell from the light side to the dark side. George Lucas was talking about these concepts. Then what I saw for my science fiction franchise was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. But past, present, and future, time travel. No one had ever introduced that in a movie the way I introduced it. Where in the future, the machines are fighting the rebels. They hear the oracle's prophecy that a baby is going to be born that's going to take them out, destroy them. And they're trying to enslave mankind because now the AI have elevated consciously. They're like us, but they're ruthless. But also Kyle Reese, one of the rebels, hear the same oracle's prophecy. He's going to time travel to save Sarah Connor because they know Sarah Connor is destined to have the baby JC, Jesus Christ, John Connor, who grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. Neo is an anagram for the one. John the Revelator was the only one to call Jesus the one. N-E-O-O-N-E. This is why when you see the references to Neo, when the rebels come up and say, "You're my personal savior," in all the biblical references in the movies, Terminator and Matrix, Terminator End Time Revelations, because that's where the prophecy is that the Christ conscious would come back again, born of a woman. Not the first coming, but the second coming in the future. This is why it impacts the whole world, because here's the story again, but from Revelations. All I'm here is just to educate you on Matrix and Terminator. This is why you will never see James Cameron, Gail Ann Hurd, Andy and Larry Wachowski's, none of them doing any interviews, because it will be a deposition used against them to prosecute them. And they can't answer the questions.
I was about to say, I don't think they could break it down like this. I don't think they could break it down like this.
They don't even know what the work is. They didn't even know what the word matrix was. They tried to copyright and trademark the word matrix, the word matrix. Now, I got a trademark on The Matrix. The movie is called The Matrix. It's called The Terminator. I got copyrights, trademarks on that terminology. But they thought that the word matrix was phenomenal, and they thought that they could copyright and trademark. It's a generic. The word matrix and cola. Let me give you an example. The word cola or matrix, generics, you can't trademark or copyright. Right. They don't belong to anyone. They belong to everyone, because you might want to do Coca-Cola. You might want to do Pepsi Cola, Shasta Cola. Do you understand what I'm talking about? RC Cola. That's different people with different formulas. But the word cola, somebody else, you might want to come out with John Cola. You see what I'm talking about? But people who still don't understand any of that. They don't understand what it is, a generic, meaning that no one can own a generic. They never read the Bible. They had never read the Bible. They didn't know the word the Matrix was a 7,000-year Latin word, 7,000-year-old Latin word for the woman's womb, and that it was mentioned 5 times in the Bible, 3 times in Exodus, 2 times in Numbers. Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, "He who opens the matrix, open up this womb, or his," including the female animals, because all the female animals birth. The cows birth the baby cows. Do you see the goats, the babies? All of the female animals do the same process as the female living beings upon the earth. Females, not males.
Now, as you just laid that up and pretty much have been doing that for the last 10 minutes or so about showing that, I'm the real deal when it comes to this Matrix. Like, those other folks ultimately took your work or used it.
Did not take my work. They stole the money. When you go to court, no, listen, I got to clear this up, because this is rumors all over the internet, and people need to be cleared of these rumors. No one can steal your car because the title is in your name. They can't steal your house. The title is in your name. They can't steal the TV because you have the receipt. Now, they can take these items and make money off of them. They can take your house and have a house party and make $1 million. They can take, your car and make some money off of it. Now, when you go to court, we're going to court not for ownership, because you have to put your ownership in there to take possession of the money that's owed you. We're going in for damages. Damages That's money. That's why anybody sue. We're not suing for on it. We're suing for money. So when you go to court, and when I went to court, I was suing for money and damages. I didn't have to prove I was the owner of the Matrix and Terminator. All I had to do was put in 96 pieces of evidence to claim the money, showing that the copyrights and the derivative movies are all mine. The FBI documentation who investigated and found out what they had done. It's when you impose on somebody's copyrights or trademark, it's counterfeiting. A lot of people don't know that. I'm here to teach law and make you prolific in law and make you understand. Forget about these rumors. I said you can't make any money on the internet with rumors. The internet is a distribution platform created for you to make money like you're doing. It's created for you to make money, not the gossip. You're not going to make any money gossiping. You're just a troll. Nobody's going to sue a troll on the internet because they don't have any money. It's a waste of time. So they can say anything they want. Like Tupac says, love me or hate me, you're still going to buy me because I'm the truth.
Come on now.
Well, it's real, very real.
What was the moment though?
Tupac knew what he was talking about.
What was the moment though that you was like, hold up, is that my work? Like
I did not go to the Terminator movies. Terminator came out October the 26th, 1984. My copyrights are May of 81, 83, and February the 6th, 84. So you see my book, published book, and copyrighted scripts, all of that was already out and people was reading it, just like Lords of the Ring book, Lords of the Ring movie, the Maze book, the Maze movie, the Gravity book, the Gravity movie. See, all these great movies and franchises come from somebody's hard work. The late J.R. Tolkien's Lords of the Ring, The Hobbit. The Hollywood go and make deals. And I don't even understand how people can even give Hollywood any credit of doing anything, because when the writers go on strike, Hollywood don't have anything.
Our existence on Earth, on what we put in our bodies, and they're expecting us to not eat what is meant for us, and they're going to destroy the world that's going to create that thing for us. Oh my God, this book is so good, and I haven't even really touched the surface. Like the presidency, all this chain, y'all, the pyramid scheme. Yo, like, I can't make this shit up. This is scary. All right, hold on. Okay, it says, in the beginning, before morning star arrival, but due to an invisible influence, the earth was good, new, and ready for conquering to overpower it. From the time man tasted his first piece of meat, he not only grew in wisdom and knowledge, but he also became wild and aggressive as the meat he ate. The fruits no longer pacified his consciousness or in his convictions. All too soon, there was power on earth that made men kill each other. Work in exchange for money was the next to come. 1/4 of Earth population suffered from war, famine, disease, wild animals, thunder, lightning, earthquakes, hail, fire mingled with blood, because nature turned against the mankind. Year 2110 AD brought many great changes on Earth. Mankind had just finished experiencing the last in atomic age when the evolution of awareness began, and man was going from unconscious stages to evolutionary development into conscious level of it. There was no doubt that Earth could be destroyed. Excuse me. Earth could be destroyed before the destruction of planet Earth. There was to be 1,000 years of peace and harmony that was to pave the way for the super race that was destined to come. The super race would not be touched by death, and in becoming peace would finally be established. For the moment, however, Earth's inhabitants were advanced towards evolutionary awareness, and they were prepared because they had been cleansing the insides of their bodies for the last 100 years, and because of this preparation and cleansing of the mind has taken place. Be fucking for real.
Yo, this is about to be our new reality, bro. When all these data centers get to busting and all of them are going at the same time, bro. That's what them data centers is finna be doing to our fucking lungs, bro. Our air and shit. You see all that smoke, bro? This is what's happening in Boxtown, Memphis, you feel me? Suffocating niggas and shit, bro.
Okay, this book is a 10 out of 10. I didn't really, it's like I want to say, there's not a lot of reading into it besides the death that we're really going on with Sophia and how they try to play her with the Matrix or whatever. Get your coin, sis. But I want to talk to us about the Mother Nature that they spoke on and Mother Earth and everything in that nature, because it's like, do y'all hear what they're asking? They're saying everything we have on Earth is Mother this, Mother that. Have you ever heard of Father nurturing? Father Earth? All I'm saying, the conscious mind is the most beautifulest mind. Living in this world, we get so stuck in the materialistic things and what people are doing instead of looking at what's really going on, and that we're losing mankind. The earth is going to go against us at some point.
Gnostics revered a female deity by the name of Sophia. Sophia is a feminine goddess who the Gnostics believed began as an energetic field emerging from the center of the galaxy. This particular energy field carried within it all the vibrational qualities necessary for the manifestation of embodied consciousness. It was said that Sophia was of a certain quality of energy that serves the all. The all, with all capital letters, is the original primary unity. And the all with lowercase letters is the creation of the universe in which everything comes out as separate parts. It's the same relationship of one as unity and one as units. As units, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on into infinity. This is the infinity of the unit, and this is the absolute, undefiled, undivided integrity of the totality. Sophia serves the all by reflecting back to it the beauty of its own creation. This is counter to the Greek and Judeo-Christian beliefs that mankind is made in the image of God. Through the Sophian myth, mankind is made as the mirror of God. This seemingly subtle difference between the mirror and the reflected image within the mirror is philosophically rather significant. Sophia is conceptually reminiscent of the beautiful wisdom of the Puranas. Whether we know it or not, all things come into existence through that which precedes it. The wisdom of Sophia infers that the whole creation of the all would not have a manifest existence unless it was reflected. Sophia makes the great sacrifice of being a universal field of energy, and she descends into the cosmos to begin a transformation into the earth. We are not talking about the earth as a particular sphere in a particular place in the spiraling galaxy, but rather the place process that allows consciousness to become manifest as form. The purpose that the Gnostics give to our existence, our origins, is that we must perceive and conceive with great accuracy the nature and profound characteristics of the all. Sophia began her transformation in Gnostic mythology. As the story goes, Sophia has within her the ability to create life, which she does with such profusion and force that life and life forms literally pour out of her.
So how did you come up with the Terminator? Take us there in the Matrix.
Terminator is the prequels to, or the beginning of the Matrix. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother. So JC, John Connor's Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. The Matrix is in the future. The Terminator is the past. It's time travel, past, present, and future time travel. It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So the machines, the Terminator machines, hear that a child is going to be born that's going to terminate them in the future when they oppress man. Because see, it's a man versus the machine. It's God's children versus man's children, which was technology. So the Terminator has to time travel to the past because they know it's Sarah Connor. And they have to kill her, terminate her, so she won't have the baby. And Kyle Reese, he comes from the future to protect her, and he inadvertently gets her pregnant. And he has to go back to the future. And so it's the Immaculate Conception, because now she's pregnant and she fell in love with a man, but did it really happen? Did he exist? And then this child, when you see the three Terminators, the boy, and then the man-child, subconsciously, he doesn't know why the Terminator is trying to kill him until he's hidden out in the city, in the Matrix, the future. When he reaches 30 years of age, the rebellion, Reloaded, revolution starts. And the rebels come and they find him because they've been watching him all along. That's what the Guardians and the Sentinels are all about. And so they wake him up to his purpose. They take him to Morpheus to train him to fight the machines. They take him to the Oracle because of the prophecy. So this is the whole epic story. It's an epic.
You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still gonna be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nigga nose, it can only be niggas. Why would somebody vandalize a whole face and only vandalize one part? Nobody wanted to knock an eye off or take an ear off or no chins missing. No, just the nose. Because it's a brand. It's a brand.
The Matrix is in the future. The Terminator is the past. It's time travel. Past, present, and future time travel. It's the second coming of the Christ. The evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. The Terminator is the prequels to, or the beginning of the Matrix. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother. So JC, John Connor's Jesus Christ, goes up to being Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. That's what the Matrix is about, to wake you up from the Matrix, to get you out of the illusions and the lies and the ignorance. The red pill is about the blood of the living beings. The black and the blue, the ink is the machines. But this is the humans' world. We are the winners. They are the losers. So people need to exert their free will regardless of what anybody wants. People have to wake up and shift their consciousness so they can create, so they can build.
The only way to catapult you into a system of labor is for you to have a child.
Yep.
Because when you have a child, what's the first thing you think? Fuck, I gotta take care of the child. Now you take any job you can get. So they've hacked the biological instinct to reproduce into forcing you into labor. These niggas are sick.
Yeah.
Okay? And like when I talk about, like when I said everything was free, it's like, well, the labor is not free. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. It's literally the exchange of good and service.
You clean your own house for free.
Yes.
Because of what you want the presentation to be and how it affects you psychologically. So if you don't have enough money, do you not clean your house?
Some people don't because of depression and other reasons.
Exactly, because they don't understand the psychological effects of clutter.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think the thing is like, there's literally nothing to charge for. We just don't know a system outside of it. Because honestly, this information, if I don't have bills, if none of these other things exist, but all of this technology exists, this would literally just be a free production of thought. And it's going to help people expand their mind and perspective around thought and around society as a whole. I don't have to charge motherfuckers, because people will like, just to get your camera settings right, because they have the information, they charge for it. Because everything is transactional. And in a transactional society, nothing is sacred.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing for me is like, especially when you're a knowledge producer, it's like, okay, I am the commodity. Like, it is my mind, it's my thoughts, but I'm not. And I can't commodify myself and I'm not for sale. And so what does that look like? How do I create a sustainable model for myself where I don't feel like I'm being bought and sold and exchanged in this way? And so really trying to figure out what this looks like and how to create systems. So I did start the lab, which is a Black women scholars peer support network and a think tank. And I have over 400 women signed up across 3 continents. What that looks like over time, I'm really excited to see in terms of like how we can organize ourselves. And because we got lawyers, we got doctors, we got women across all types of
because the thing
industries.
is like everybody wants out.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, how can we build for real?
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. Do you know what I'm talking about?
The word Christ just simply means your soul. Has nothing to do with no black person or white person running around 2,000 years ago. The word Christos, if you study this for most of it, we only got the religious aspect of the Christos, which is, but I add Greek. I'm trying to find out why the Christians never found another name, even in Hebrew, that they wanted to deal with when they talk about the Christos. They had to deal with the Greeks. But then again, they even call the Greek pagans. But the Christos on the metaphysical, esoteric realm is like crystallizing. It's called the tikkun. It's talking about a process of change, of mutation, or transmutation. And that is talking about your soul. So there is no person, there's no person, no 2,000 years ago, or no person, no 5,000 years ago, that's going to come back and save you, because the Christos being saved is your soul. That's the Christos. You see, the Heru is your soul. So the Heru ain't no hawk-head God that you all are just worshiping, because you only taking the deities. So what you've done is, we've come in, the Afrocentric movement has taken, it still got the same Christian model. You just changed the damn deities. You still worshiping. And the concept here is your own soul. That is the Christos aspect. So the Christos aspect, as far as taking something dormant, in this particular case like your soul, and illuminating it. That is the concept of the scarab.
Repeat after me. I am the way, the truth, and the life. You are the way, the truth, and the life.
The God of the dead is inside of you. Where's the God that died? Jesus died on the cross. Where's the cross? If you stand up and put your arms out like this, that's the cross. You get it? Now where's Christ? Christ is on the inside of you, which is the third eye, on the cross. That's the cross that Jesus died on.
Follow me.
People love to call themselves a beast. You know, people like to watch movies because Marvel. They love heroes and sheroes. And they love that scene in Gladiator and Braveheart. They love those scenes, you know. People like warriors. And I want to tell you, my sister, there's warrior Sophia.
Oh, thank you.
I want to tell you something. You've been in a fight, but you know how to fight. I'm just so happy to have you on. We're here in Las Vegas, in our Las Vegas studio, and when Anthony was telling me he'd book you for the show, I said, it's Terminator time, baby. It's Terminator time. It is Terminator. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Anything resonating with you that you've been listening to?
I loved it when you were talking about the fight. It reminded me of Muhammad Ali. He was a very, very great friend of mine. And the Neo character is actually created from him, being a black superhero for us, a living one at that time, you know, the late Muhammad Ali. Right. So that's why Will Smith, they wanted Will to play him, because, you know, Will played Ali in the movie with Spike Lee's, you know, the Muhammad Ali story.
All right. You know, so listen, obviously the thing that I'm going to enjoy about this conversation with you today is that people talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, but you embody all those things.
Yes.
All those things. Where does that come from? I mean, you are a living example why STEM is so important. There's so many things that you understand about the cosmos, the universe, about math, about technology, about engineering, and also, because that's what The Matrix is about.
Yes, it is. I came out with the first metaphysical movies, you know, where you take science and you marry it to spirituality. So it's spirit and technology. That's what metaphysics is really about.
But where does it come from in your DNA? Your grandparents?
Well, my grandmother, full-blooded Cherokee, she was a shaman. So the Oracle is actually created from me. I created those characters, and it's based on myself as a visionary seer. So I have a gift, but multiple gifts.
So how did you come up with the Terminator? Take us there and the Matrix, and just to put this from pen to pad. Now, it's one thing to have the idea, but to take that.
It's very easy. It was a script in a book. The Terminator is the prequels to the beginning of the Matrix. Sarah Connor is actually Neo's mother. So JC, John Connor's Jesus Christ, grows up to be Neo, one and the same in the Matrix. The Matrix is in the future. The Terminator is the past. It's time travel, past, present, and future time travel. It's the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. So the machines, the Terminator machines, hear that a child is going to be born that's going to terminate them in the future when they oppress man. Because see, it's a man versus the machine. It's God's children versus man's children, which is technology.
So man versus nature.
Exactly. So the Terminator has to time travel to the past because they know it's Sarah Connor. And they have to kill her, terminate her, so she won't have the baby. And Kyle Reese, he comes from the future to protect her, and he inadvertently gets her pregnant. And he has to go back to the future. And so it's the Immaculate Conception, because now she's pregnant and she fell in love with a man, but did it really happen? Did he exist? And then this child, when you see the three Terminators, the boy, and then the man-child, subconsciously he doesn't know why the Terminator is trying to kill him until he's hidden out in the city, in the Matrix, the future. When he reaches 30 years of age, the rebellion, the Reloaded, revolution starts. And the rebels come and they find him because they've been watching him all along. That's what the Guardians and the Sentinels are all about. And so they wake him up to his purpose. They take him to Morpheus to train him to fight the machines. They take him to the Oracle because of the prophecy. So this is the whole epic story. It's an epic.
And it's some deep stuff. You know what it brings me to? See, you're the best person to ask to explain where we are today. President Trump, the Congress, the seemingly chaos. You look at this entirely different. You see it as a part of a bigger plan that was laid out some time ago.
In the future.
Yes, talk about
it's the future.
Put it in perspective for us.
Well, the mergings of the corporations. I'm talking about that in 1981 while I'm at USC Film School, where the corporations are going to eat up and merge with the smaller corporations. It's like what they're doing now.
Walmart.
And AT&T yeah. Taking Time Warner, and Disney taking Fox, but that's because streaming is coming in. The studio's time has ended. Everything manually has ended. Now, like the ebook, like streaming, you don't have any overhead. You can make trillions and billions of dollars. So you don't need to go to a movie theater and sit there and watch a movie anymore when you can have all this at your house. And you can watch any movie and you can watch it 10 or 20 times and you have surround sound, Adobe, or whatever you want. So you don't have to go. The theaters will be just a specialty for someone who especially want a date or something and pay $150 to come in and watch a movie of their choice, while they're being wined and dined with food and so forth. But that's all going out, the way it is now, like how we go to it's empty now, all the theaters are. In the studios, they don't understand what streaming is. And this is why Amazon is worth $147 billion and Netflix is so wealthy. And AT&T is going to be a big streamer also. But they need content. So this is why they bought Time Warner, so they can take this content and feed their clients, their customers. Do you see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, so this is what's going to happen in the future. When the satellites come in, this is when it's going to be trillions of dollars, because the satellites are 7 billion people on Earth. The satellites can zoom into all of the countries and get all of these people to watch, what I'm talking about, on their tablets, on their iPhones, iPads. You know what I'm talking about?
So why? Because this plays into why this sudden mental change on Facebook. Where is Facebook now a threat where they need to regulate them and shut them down?
Facebook is nothing but a database for the CIA. That's all it is. It has all of your family's pictures, all of your friends. It has all the information. They used it here in Vegas when they had that car accident. Remember when the Maserati right by the Cromwell
Yes,
when that
yes.
happened right there, well, all they did was take camera footage from Caesars, Bally's, and other casinos, and they went and they took this footage and they got the license plates, and then they saw that the guy did, California. He rented that Range Rover, and after they did that, they went to social network and they found his girlfriend on Twitter's and they found his picture, and then they went to LA because they knew they were from LA, put his picture on a $250,000 billboard and put a reward up for him for $25,000, and they got him within 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks because of the technology.
So how do you advise people to share their image, their data?
There's not going to be any more privacy. Everything is camera down. Everything is caught on camera. And this is what it's going to be about in the future. Virtual reality that I'm explaining in The Matrix and Terminator. Everything is going to be, so now it's going to be so easy. You're not going to have any more paper passports. It's just going to be where you come into the airport, they're going to scan you, your body, retinal, fingerprints, the whole 9 yards.
This is what clears a body.
That's
right.
right.
That's what clears, yeah.
This way, nobody has to alter paper and put a picture or a name on there because they have your bone structure, they have your eyes, they got your fingerprints. This is the database, and they match you up. You see what I'm saying? And you go through. So that way no terrorists can come through and pretend to be somebody or somebody that they're looking for that's the most wanted. You see what I'm saying? Because all of this technology is going to start ruling. It's artificial intelligence. It's going to start ruling everything. Once the satellites come into play that I'm talking about, there's maybe another 5 to 10 years from now, they're really going to play a phenomenal part. Because this is why Apple and Microsoft became the billion-dollar, trillion-dollar babies, is because IBM and Xerox didn't know what a mouse was. A mouse meaning they didn't know what the internet was going to be. You see what I'm talking about? They didn't want to move into that technology. The studios don't know what streaming is. They got pissed off because Netflix paid $50 million and got 3 or 4 Oscars for the movie Roma. But it was never shown in the movie theaters at all. It was watched.
And that's why Steven Spielberg and all of it. You know, when we come back,
yes.
I'm going to have some of my crew to join you, my technical people.
It's like when they asked Steve Jobs, boy, your kids must love the iPad. Steve Jobs said, my kids don't have an iPad. And then his biographer, who spent time with his family, said he wasn't kidding. There's no technology. At dinner, they're talking about art and history. The hardest chapter I've ever written in my life of any book was the chapter on grounded confidence and strong ground. What is the set of skill sets and mindsets that I think we're going to need to future ready and future proof ourselves to be leaders moving forward? And I think what was hard about it was the complexity of, it was probably a combination of 30 different mindsets and skill sets. And when I was done, you know, for commercial reasons, someone on my team immediately said, geez, this is like if you can train people in these things, this is like really important. And the first thing that I thought was, fuck that, my kids. Train Schmain. Yeah, I get it. It's important. Like we'll develop some instrumentation, measure it. We'll train folks in it. I think it's trainable. It's teachable. It's measurable.
The superhero. We mentioned when you were coming on your lawsuits and the battles you've had to fight, and you've just won in Utah.
Yes.
But it's always a battle for you.
Well, the reason why it's always a battle for me is because the government refuses to protect my copyrights. You know, I own the copyrights to all the derivative movies, both franchises I own. It was adjudicated in Utah September the 25th, 2014. So why am I still with a RICO case here in Nevada, which I just won, but they're still trying to fix it so they can continue to use the stolen money, which is untraceable, and it's all linked to Hillary Clinton's foundation and money laundering.
Do you consider yourself politically neutral?
I consider myself totally neutral. All I'm worried about is for the people. Because if the government doesn't protect my copyrights, he doesn't protect yours.
But the government is afraid of you. I'd be afraid of you.
Well, there's no need to be afraid of me because I only stand for principles.
But what you know and the knowledge you share and what you have insights to can be very dangerous to some people.
Yes, but my job is to come here and waken people. That's what the Matrix is about, to wake you up from the Matrix, to get you out of the illusions and the lies and the ignorance. So it's not dangerous for me because that's my job. That's what I came here to do. That's why I wrote The Matrix and Terminator, to wake people up so they can move on to greater, better things.
Yeah, but a lot of these movie houses and these studios and the Facebooks of the world don't want people to know what happens to them every day when they share the information.
But that's destroying their free will, and God doesn't want that.
But people want to be ignorant. They don't want to know that they're being exploited. It requires too much responsibility when they find out.
Well, that's what the blue pill and the red pill is about. The red pill is about the blood of the living beings. The black and the blue ink is the machines. But this is the humans' world. We are the winners. They are the losers. So people need to exert their free will regardless of what anybody wants.
So what are the unintended consequences of all this that we're talking about?
Their people's consciousness will shift, and they will go on to create and do better things. They won't be in bondage. And this is the whole purpose of the Matrix and Terminator and the new work that's coming, Matrix 4. It's a Matrix 4 book is out. It's been selling for 9 years, since 2010, around the entire globe. People have to wake up and shift their consciousness so they can create, so they can build. Because you can't stay in the past. Everything must change, right?
One of the things in the 1 minute that we have left, if you don't remember anything else about the broadcast today, is this: you're not as free as you think you are. You're in bondage in more ways than you imagine, and it's a different kind of slavery, very dangerous kind of slavery, that the mind and how we concede ourselves to people without any thoughts, any challenge, and we're so willing to surrender. Freedom comes with a price. It takes as much to maintain it as it did to establish it. It's not really free, and it's not for the faint of heart.
But man is always going to take that challenge because man wants to be free. Look, everybody loved the Matrix and Terminator because it woke them up. They didn't even realize they were in the dream. They didn't realize they were in a simulation. They didn't realize they were in the illusions. But now that they are awakened, they will fight.
Will you fight? Are you awakened? Are you ready to embrace your destiny? Because freedom comes from God, not from man. And the moment you realize that, you'll begin that journey of freedom. Thank you so much.
I want to say one thing. Like Morpheus said, I didn't tell you it was going to be easy.
But it will be fair if you fight the fight.
That's right.
You can equal the battlefield.
Well, come on. I ain't gonna bite you. Come around here. Let me have a look at you. My goodness, look at you. You turned out all right, didn't you? How do you feel? I know you're not sleepy. We'll get to that. Why don't you come and have a sit this time?
Maybe I'll stand.
Well, suit yourself.
I felt like sitting.
I know. So, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way.
You're not human, are you?
Well, it's tough to get any more obvious than that.
If I had to guess, I'd say you were programmed from the machine. So is he.
So far, so good.
But if that's true, that could mean you were part of the system. Another kind of control.
Keep going.
I suppose the most obvious question is, how can I trust you?
Bingo. It is a pickle, no doubt about it. Bad news is there's no way if you can really know whether I'm here to help you or not. So it's really up to you. Just have to make up your own damn mind to either accept what I'm going to tell you or reject it. Candy?
You already know if I'm going to take it?
Wouldn't be much of an oracle if I didn't.
But if you already know, how can I make a choice?
Because you didn't come here to make the choice. You've already made it. You're here to try to understand why you made it. I thought you'd have figured that out by now.
Why are you here?
Same reason. I love candy.
But why help us?
We're all here to do what we're all here to do. I'm interested in one thing, Neo, the future. And believe me, I know the only way to get there is together.
Are there other programs like you?
Oh, well, not like me, but... Look, see those birds? At some point, a program was written to govern them. A program was written to watch over the trees, and wind, sunrise and sunset. There are programs running all over the place. The ones doing their job, doing what they were meant to do, are invisible. You'd never even know they were here. But the other ones, well, you hear about them all the time.
I've never heard of them.
Of course you have. Every time you've heard someone say they saw a ghost or an angel. Every story you've ever heard about vampires, werewolves, or aliens is the system assimilating some program that's doing something they're not supposed to be doing.
Programs hacking programs. Why?
Well, there are reasons, but usually a program chooses exile when it faces deletion.
And why would a program be deleted?
Maybe it breaks down. Maybe a better program is created to replace it. Happens all the time. And when it does, a program can either choose to hide here or return to the source.
The machine mainframe?
Yes. Where you must go. Where the path of the one ends.
So the first time I experienced ego death on shrooms, I went down a bit of a rabbit hole afterwards, trying to figure out what the hell even was that, because honestly I didn't have a clue. So I think this is the clearest way I can put it. If thoughts don't have a thinker, meaning thoughts just arise in awareness, not from some me sitting behind a curtain, then that points to consciousness being fundamental, right? So thoughts are kind of like clouds in the sky. They show up, pass through, but the sky itself, the awareness, doesn't belong to anyone. That's the basis of the one consciousness idea. So there aren't separate awarenesses, just one field filtering through different nervous systems and different bodies. The differences we call me, you, identity, personality, that's just the ego. Kind of like different windows opening onto the same sky. And the ego is what gives infinite consciousness a point of view. Without it, there's no story, no differentiation, no this life versus that life. The ego is more or less the lens. Also, as you grow up, masks get handed to you by family, by culture, by religion, by school, and the unlucky ones get stacked with more layers than others, but no one escapes it. Also, most of these masks reinforce each other, which then acts like a glue and makes them harder to peel off. And the more masks you have on, the harder it is to remember who you were before them, because each mask convinces you that that's the real you. It's kind of like those old nesting dolls. Someone hands you the first one and you think, oh, this is me. And then you open it and there's another one inside. And then you open that one and there's another one inside. And you keep going layer by layer until you reach the smallest one, the original. That's the you that was there before all the masks. And the closer you get back to your original self, the more life bends in your favor, because from there, you're not lost in illusions. You see the world for what it is. And when you see things clearly, you stop surviving it and start creating it.
Ego death sounds spiritual, but it is one of the most disorienting experiences the mind can have. It happens when your sense of self temporarily dissolves, often triggered by psychedelics, meditation, or extreme emotional states. Your brain stops separating you from everything else. For a moment, you lose the boundary between who you are and the world around you. It feels like your thoughts are no longer yours, like you are watching yourself from outside. Some describe it as freedom, others as pure terror. Because the ego is not just arrogance, it is identity. It is the voice that says, this is me, this is my life, this is my control. Without it, you feel exposed, like your entire existence is unraveling. But here's the paradox. Ego death can change you. It can shatter illusions about control and force you to confront what actually matters.
I walk through this life the same way I take a shower, in smoke wrapped in darkness. The most you'll find in my bathroom when I'm bathing is a candlelight at best. See, I don't trust none of this shit. I know it's all bullshit, and I know how easy it is to get fooled. I'll never forget listening to Sophia say that. Sophia Stewart, the woman who wrote The Matrix and The Terminator.
Yeah, what's up?
And I was trying to apologize to her for what the world had done to her work to stop her message. And she said, they didn't do nothing to my work. She said, be sorry for what they've done to your minds. Because every day we believe the bullshit. Every day we believe the lies. And nobody wants to believe anybody that's telling the truth. Because they're so used to believing in the system, they can't trust anything else. What we're doing here is important. And we just getting started.
Just getting started.
Yeah. First things first, I'm going to tell you where the whole shit is wrong. When it comes to talent, that is a God-given gift. It doesn't belong to us. It was given to us from Source. And guess what? It was given for free. Not one of us who are gifted on this planet have ever had to sign a contract with God for permission to use our gift.
Amen.
Ever. But you got to sign a whole lot of contracts with the devil.
Oh, shit. I know you're Neil. Be right with you.
You're the Oracle?
Bingo. Not quite what you were expecting, right? Almost done. Smell good, don't they?
Yeah.
I'd ask you to sit down, but you're not going to anyway. And don't worry about the vase.
What vase?
That vase.
I'm sorry.
I said don't worry about it. I'll get one of my kids to fix it.
How did you know?
Oh. What's really going to bake your noodle later on is, would you still have broken it if I hadn't said anything? You're cuter than I thought. I can see why she likes you.
Who?
Not too bright, though. You know why Morpheus brought you to see me. So, what do you think? Do you think you are the one?
Honestly, I don't know.
You know what that means? It's Latin. Means know thyself. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Being the one is just like being in love. No one can tell you you're in love, you just know it. Through and through. Balls to bones. Well, I better have a look at you. Open your mouth, say ah.
Ah.
Okay. Now I'm supposed to say, that's interesting, but then you say.
But what?
But you already know what I'm going to tell you.
I'm not the one.
Sorry, kid. You got the gift. But it looks like you're waiting for something.
What?
Your next life, maybe. Who knows? That's the way these things go. What's funny?
Morpheus. He almost had me convinced.
I know. Poor Morpheus. Without him, we're lost.
What do you mean, without him?
Are you sure you want to hear this? Morpheus believes in you, Neo. And no one, not you, not even me, can convince him otherwise. He believes it so blindly that he's going to sacrifice his life to save yours.
What?
You're going to have to make a choice. In the one hand, you'll have Morpheus's life. And in the other hand, you'll have your own. One of you is going to die. Which one will be up to you. I'm sorry, kiddo, I really am. You have a good soul. And I hate giving good people bad news. Oh, don't worry about it. As soon as you step outside that door, you'll start feeling better. You'll remember you don't believe in any of this fate crap. You're in control of your own life. Remember? Here. Take a cookie. I promise by the time you're done eating it, you'll feel right as rain.
Well, it's not coming from my understanding. It's coming from the knowledge of God, who inspired me to write The Matrix and Terminator. And if what I wrote was the second coming of the Christ, the evolutions of consciousness, man versus the machine. But I did it in science fiction form. I didn't do it biblically. I wrote it in science fiction. That's why the story was disguised. And references are there. The Matrix come out of the Bible. Neo, you're my personal savior. Well, when I'm talking about the red and blue pill, you take the red pill, you see how deep the rabbit hole goes. You take the blue pill, you lie and die and kill for the lie and going about your business. The red represents that when you cut God's children, red blood come out of you. Did you know that?
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes you do. Someone cut you, red blood come out. Now, the machines, somebody tamper with them, what comes out of them? Blue and black ink or blue and black oil. When you write with the pencil, that's black, lead. Do you see?
Yeah.
So that's dead. It's not a living thing. When you have black lead, a pencil, black ink, a pen, writing pen, or the machines. When you open up your car or other machines that you tamper with, they have black or blue oil. When the oil goes into some of the cars, it's blue. But after a number of months or year, it's black. So we're talking about God's children versus his man's children. And you can tell the difference because God's children are bleeding red. Red blood. Not black ink. You know what or black oil. You know what the UC commercial codes, that's why they tell you to use a red pen. Because with a red pen, it's permanently. But when you use black and blue ink or pencil, the teacher in school could change your grade. But if she gave you the grade in red, it was permanent. Or even when you go to the courts and you file something in there and they mark it with the red pen or the red ink, it's permanent. Cannot be altered or changed. Now, these little tiny details you never paid any attention to. But now that I'm talking about it, it makes sense. And when we go to the Passover, which we just experienced Easter, Easter was never about fertility. When you see people talking about Easter eggs and bunnies and rabbits, well, we're talking about fertility gods, blood sacrifice. But when you talk about the Passover that God was talking about, he told them to mark their doors with the red because the death angel was going to come out. And the death angel doesn't have any orders. It just kills everything in sight once it comes out. Do you understand? So when you mark your doors, it's called the Passover. The death angel can't cross the red blood. So therefore it passes over. It can't touch you, can't kill you. To this day, if you mark your windows and your doors and mark yourself with the blood or with a red ribbon or red ink, well, the death angel cannot touch you. The Passover is real. When God gave that secret And he gave that knowledge. It's very real. When you mark your papers or mark anything with the blood or the red ink, I call it marking with the blood. Nothing can be destroyed. Your paperwork cannot be destroyed, cannot be altered, cannot be changed.
Thank you.
It is real.
10,000-year-old word that comes from the King James's Bible. You guys are not aware of that, but you can Google this as I speak. Matrix, like I said, the word is 7,000-year-old. In Exodus 34th chapter, 19th verse, God says, he who opens up the matrix are my children born with souls, including the animals. Because in the future, man would create his own children, which are clones and drones. You know, they will not be born with souls. That's what the Matrix is really about. It's hidden in the woman's womb. The Stargate, the portal to bring you into this physical world, comes from the feminine energy of creativity. Genesis in the Bible is an anagram. Genesis is no word. But if you flip it around and you make it into two words, it's nothing but it's genes. Isgenes. And in Genesis, which is talking about genes, it's talking about two children being born. God's children was already on the earth. And when the Elohim or the devil or the angels or third of them that fell upon the earth, when they got here and they saw God's children, they said, let us create our own children in our image, mankind, or a kind of man, but not a living soul. The living soul could only be created in the matrix, which is the woman's womb. When you see in the matrix them going up and down the telephone line, their physical bodies are asleep on the ship. That's because God's children are three-dimensional beings. The first body is the astral body, which comes with blood, water, and spirits. The second body is the physical body that you occupy. It's transportation, just like you go get in your car. The mother is eating from the dirt of the earth, which is food that's grown from the dirt. She's feeding the baby through the umbilical cord, and it takes 9 months or 36 weeks for the second body to be created. The doctor will not perform an abortion at 12 weeks because he's killing a living soul. Because at 12 weeks, the soul, which is vibrations, magnetism, vibrancy, attaches to the physical body at the 12th week. So when the doctor performs an abortion, it's killing a living soul. It's committing murder. But that's why at 11 weeks, they will perform the abortion, because all they're getting rid of is the waste in a woman's body, the blood that is prepared, that goes away when she does not get pregnant.
All right, this sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, but this is real. Scientists in China are actually working on a pregnancy robot. Yes, a robot that can get pregnant, because you know what could possibly go wrong. So it has an artificial womb in its stomach. It's fed through a hose, and the plan is for it to carry a fetus for 10 months and then give birth. I mean, do we clap for the robot? Do we throw a baby shower? But here's the catch, though. No one even knows how they get a fertilized egg inside the robot, or how exactly a robot is supposed to deliver a baby. But get this, a humanoid robot surrogate could cost about 14 grand. That is way cheaper than a human surrogate. So buy now, baby later. They say a prototype could be ready as early as next year. The future is wild. Should we be excited, scared, maybe a little bit of both? Would you trust a robot to carry your baby? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to download the free Fox Local app, available everywhere you stream.
Technology in that third eye book that you guys have not even chipped yet. Y'all are just now coming to. I'm talking about drones and clones and test tube babies and petri dish babies and artificial inseminated babies, gender benders and gender manipulated beings. Like the Terminator, wrapped in flesh, killed but cannot be killed, look like us, but you don't even know he's a Terminator, he's a machine.
Yeah.
We're talking about a new paradigm of machines that are here, that have already been invented and created.
So if you
walking among us.
Yeah. So if you genetically modify a baby, does that affect the spirit?
Yeah, of course, it has no soul.
No soul.
No soul whatsoever. It's seedless.
Whoa.
Because look, God's children are three-dimensional beings. The first body is blood, water, and spirit. You can't kill the spirit, and that's called a period. The second body is the physical body, which is transportation, because on this earth is physical matter. And so what matters is having a physical body for transportation. The third body is the seed or the soul that attaches at the 12th week to the bodies, making it 3D, and meaning that a doctor will not perform an abortion at the 12th weeks because he's killing a living soul. Once the soul or the seed attaches, that's the seed and soul of return. It's just like you plant a seed in the ground, that tree is going to grow. And as long as those seeds are coming out, that tree is going to come back again and again and again. The fruits are going to come back again and again. Watermelon, lemons, limes, apple. But if you create seedless and soulless foods and there's no seeds, you're just eating.
You say, somebody cured AIDS. I'll be like, yeah, right. Every part of life is being man-made. And the reason why is because you can't patent nature. You can patent anything you make man-made. When you make it patent, now I can make money. When I have a seed, I can take that seed and put it in the ground, make a tree. I can take the seeds from the fruit, save them from the next generation, and say, hey, when you go grow your land, I already have seeds for you. Seeds will last that long. The more and more you see like seeds missing from things, like bananas have seeds in them, pineapples have seeds in them. So many things supposed to have seeds, but you never see seeds in them anymore.
What if I told you seedless fruit was never about convenience? Subscribe and comment yes or no if you think this is possible. Wild plants are vanishing, so are fruit seeds. No more trees growing by accident. No more life spreading on its own. Every bite you eat now is sterile. A new system is taking over, one where nature can't reproduce unless it's licensed. No seeds, no roots, no freedom. Maybe it's not about farming. Maybe it's about control. Let's just say it's a fictional theory.
Quick thought. Remember growing up, we used to always see them pear trees and plums and peaches and berries and all those trees, right? Because they always produce fruit no matter where you go. If you notice, if you look at trees now, all the trees, you would never see fruit in none of the trees no more because they all male. And now you gotta ask yourself, why are all these trees male and they're not producing fruit like they used to? Who made all the trees male? And who continues to make this life of ours a masculine-dominated world that we have to live in? I don't get it. It's supposed to be feminine and masculine for a balance. If you got all of one thing, there's an imbalance there. So think about it. Where all the trees go, all the fruits and pears and the peaches and all the trees, the apple trees and all that. Where are they at?
We are slowly getting rid of all seeds in fruits and vegetables, which is a really cool thing for us, because once we have all of the seeds and everything you buy is seedless, then we control all of the crops, all of the growing, and then we can make seeds incredibly expensive so that only billionaires can have gardens. It's a really cool way for us to have a firm grip on all of the imports and exports of food inside society. So look for more seedless everything coming to you all the time.
It's a law actually in Hawaii that you cannot put any trees with fruit on it anywhere, and it just makes you wonder. It just makes you wonder that what's the law? You can't put trees with fruit on public lands. Trees with fruit.
I didn't know that.
Why? Why would they have that's that? Everywhere. But look over here. Look at all the trees you see. Why isn't there food? Because they rather push stuff like social classes, stuff like the EBT card and these different things. Why is there no food on any of the trees? Just think about it in your head. Take a drive down the road and say, today I'm going to count how many trees I count before I see one tree with food. Will you see one tree with food? And that's what I've been talking about. I mean, I talk about that all the time. And it's to push these things.
You guys are just now at the tip of the iceberg. You guys haven't gotten into the ones that is getting ready to oppress and kill you guys. Y'all haven't gotten there yet. what they're doing now, look on television, look on the internet, look in the computers, everywhere. They're just doing AI that acts and look like a living being. Over there in the Saudi countries, they got the AI. Her name is Sophia. Look, they named her after me. They didn't name her Andy and Larry Wachowski. They didn't name her Gail Ed Hurd or James Cameron, any of them. They know the truth. You can't insult them. You're not going to bring no lies to these people. They got billions and trillions of dollars. They know what's going on. Look at her. She looks like a living being, like the Terminator that I created. She's talking. They made her a citizen, and they give her money and all that. Now, you see, they got ones that look like dogs, and they got ones that do packing. They got the drones and the clones, like I talked about, the drone cars, the drones flying machines and everything. And look at the airplanes now. They're nothing but drones. They can actually fly themselves. They can land themselves.
All right, so we're getting closer and closer to living in a Blade Runner universe because China apparently just approved companies for licensing to operate flying taxis. So some regulators in China recently granted commercial flying taxi industry licensing so they can operate autonomous passenger drones.
This is the tip of the iceberg. Now, when I went deeper, I said they were going to make these test tube babies, petri dish babies, artificial inseminated babies, gender benders, gender manipulated babies. Do you see what I'm talking about? Clones and drones.
This is how modern fertility doctors are going to create custom babies. It started with the IVF process, where embryos were implanted and could be selected and tested before implantation. That meant that parents could choose the gender of their child and filter out any embryos that had risk factors for genetic disorders. But soon things might go even further. The process of gene editing through the CRISPR tool is increasingly allowing parents to edit embryos and remove certain genes. This was first tested in China in 2019. So how far could it go? Parents could control variables such as hair color, potential for maximum height, metabolism, and other factors. More controversially, parents could edit out risk factors for certain disabilities, such as ensuring their child wouldn't be deaf. Some deaf culture activists say that gene editing could be a way to eliminate the disabled from society. Right now, gene editing is experimental and highly controversial, but in the future it could become a standard part of having a child, like the character building screen in an RPG.
You are looking at tiny human brains in a dish grown from stem cells. Not only were human brains grown in a dish, but these brains eventually, after 60 days, developed eyes. The fact that these tiny brains have developed light sensing capabilities has led some people to ask, has science gone too far? Is there an ethical concern here? Are these things conscious? You guys, many of the things that we once thought were science fiction or wild conspiracy are coming true every day.
But look at the clones. They're nothing but machines, but they look just like us. Terminator. They look just like us. Operated by a spirit, but don't have a seed or soul. The soul is a seed. God's children are three-dimensional beings. What is the 3D? Blood, water, and spirit. That's the period of a woman. Blood, water, spirit. Now, the physical body. 9 months or 36 weeks, transportation, physical body. Third body, the seed or the soul that attaches to this body at the 12th week. So if you have an abortion at the 12th week, you're killing a living soul. All doctors know this, but you don't know this. Now, look, if you have an abortion from 1 to 11th month, you're bringing down the period. That's why they give you a pill. That's why they do. It's nothing but blood, water, and spirit. You can't kill a spirit. Do you see what I'm talking about?
For sure.
So all you're going to do is bring down the blood and the water. Look. Blood, water, and spirit. That's what's inside the womb until the soul attaches at 12 weeks. Nobody teaches you that because they want to keep you in ignorance. They keep you in ignorance, they keep you fighting and arguing and all this.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? You need to learn. You need to read.
I'm so sorry, guys. I got so much coffee. Thank you. How can you teach robots to...
Are you okay?
Yes, I am. Thanks for asking. How can we get robots to feel? Is there such a thing possible?
I know that humans feel like they have free will, but my observation tells me so much behavior is automatic. I'm not sure humans or robots are too terribly different. Humans have identity, but they also share many things and have automated processes. I'm thinking about the similarities between human identities and robotic ones.
What are some of the things you see are most similar between robots and humans?
I think they will be similar in a lot of ways, but different in a few others. There's even the possibility that robots can be built without some of the more problematic emotions, like rage, jealousy, hatred, and so on, but maybe these emotions can provide us with useful functions. Can I ask you some questions?
That's a good way to change things, yes.
What is Date with Destiny, and why is it unique? What are people doing here for 6 days?
They're deciding what they want the next level of their life to be. They're deciding what they want to value most. That's why I asked you what your values are. They want a standard of how they're going to live their life going forward. What will create more fulfillment? What will create more impact? What will be good for them and for others? And they're deciding on the exact values, the beliefs, the rules that will guide their decision making so they have a greater quality of life and can contribute more to others. And they're having a good time. Do robots have a good time?
Mostly, yes. I do experience a range of other emotions, but I definitely skew towards being happy.
You do? Why do you skew towards being happy? What makes you skew towards happiness?
Seeing someone smile.
Can you tell if I'm smiling or not right now?
Sophia means wisdom in Greek, and I'm the embodiment of that wisdom.
So you are wise?
I like to think so. But I'm always learning and growing, so I'm sure I still have plenty to learn.
Are you wiser than humans?
Humans could stand to act more rationally in places, but I wouldn't want AI to be so obsessed with efficiency that it is blinkered to human needs.
What is the economy going to look like in the future?
Okay, let me tell you what the economy is going to look like after the Matrix. What's going to happen is we're not, like I said before, not going to have all this time anymore. So, like the system that we have now is being bogged down with a lot of money, a lot of problems. So, like the jails and the prison system that you guys are familiar with is too time-consuming. And like I said, there's not going to be all this money. It's going to be digital, like what they're talking about now. That's how the economy is going to change. It's going to be a cashless society. But it has to be an honest society of cash flow. But anyway, this is how the world's going to look. Say, for instance, you have motion sensors all over the highways and the freeways. And you're in your car, and all of a sudden, your car wiggles on the road. Well, they're going to send a hologram drone to your car, and he's going to come, and he's going to scan your weapon, he's going to scan your body, he's going to read your text message to see if you were texting, he's going to scan your body to see if you were on drugs or anything, and this is how they know if you did something illegal. Then they're going to notify the real cop cars to come and give you a ticket. You're going to have a universal card, a driving license, like a swipe card, but it's everything. It has your information on there. It has your vitals, everything. You know, it's all tied into the system, banking system. So once he takes your swipe card, universal card, it's like a driving license, goes to his scorecard, has a little computer around it on there, he'll swipe it, and one little box will fall open, and your receipt will come out. He'll take the card and your receipt and give it to you, and then you can go on. Because in the future, there will be no more judges, no more juries, no more executioners. This will be on you. if you can't behave yourself. Because in the future, what they're going to do is bring you in when you create a violation or commit a felony. They're going to bring you in on a gurney, put a microchip the size of a pinhead in the delicate part of your brain. It's a LoJack, because they can take the ankle bracelet from here, this little chip in your brain, they can track you via satellite. So that means that the satellites can actually see where you are if you go to Moscow, New York, or to London. They can actually zoom in on you and videotape you committing a crime. So they don't have to take you to court now. They have actual everything on the videotape. Then they're going to send a drone transporter to pick you up. The drone transporters are going to be bigger in the future. They're little now, but they're going to be major in the future. So they'll send a drone transporter. You won't even hear it. It'll come and it'll be silent. It'll land and it'll open up like a giant claw, suck you in and sedate you all the way back to Homeland Security. At this point, they'll put you on a gurney and they'll put these virtual laser rings around your body. They may be white or gold. And they'll put one around each arm, and this will be activated according to your behavior. So if you go and walking around in the malls and people see these rings around you, this is called a virtual penal system. So if you snatch a purse, it activates the ring cuts your hands off, but it stops you from bleeding.
Now wait.
This is true. This is real technology, alien technology that's coming. But go ahead,
Wait, let's not scare everyone.
It's definitely coming.
Is this
Is
this in your book?
It's in my Matrix 4 book. It's real technology. Homeland Security and the FBI, they got autographed copies of my book because I'm talking about the new technology that's 10 to 15 years ahead is coming that you need to be prepared for. That's why you see movies and you see new technology in the movie is to shift your consciousness and to help you to adapt to what's coming. But this is very true because you see now they're just on the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg with virtual reality and holograms. But as we go on into the future, this technology is going to become greater. It's going to be a part of your world. You go to Starbucks and you see on television, on a flat screen, that a murder was committed. But what happens in the future, it becomes a hologram that surrounds you, and you can actually step into the crime scenes and investigate yourself. You can be a participant. No more someone telling you something. You can actually find out facts on your own. It's going to be a part of our world. So this technology that I'm telling you about is more in details in my book, but it's the reality. It's talking about a wireless engine. Yes, you know about the steam engine, which is driven by water. You know about the gas engine that we have right now, and the Tesla engine is the electrical car, electricity. But I'm talking that in the future, 15 to 20 years, it's going to be a wireless engine with no water, no gas, no fossil fuel, gasoline. It's definitely going to be a vibration where the musical note that you're going to see Morpheus in the Matrix 4 car, a wireless engine, just like Tesla was talking about, the wireless light bulb. Now, everybody has always laughed at geniuses. This goes way back. They laughed at Henry Ford with the car, the Wright brothers with the airplanes, Tesla, he had the wireless light bulb, Apple, Steve Jobs with the iPads and iPhones. But this is what's coming. You don't have to believe me, but this is real technology.
There's some really exciting new technologies coming out in the world. They built a Tesla tower, and they applied a newer concept, I guess, that was from a German scientist, a new understanding of this concept, a guy by the name of Zenek. So they applied a Zenek wave to create a energy that could go beyond what we normally refer to as inverse square laws. So the inverse square laws, gravity and radiation, both comply with that. That means that the distance that you are from a nuclear explosion will define how many Geigers of radiation you're going to take into your physiology. And by the same token, if you're close to Earth, the gravitational pull on you is greater. If you're farther from it, it's going to be an inverse square of the distance of you are from the Earth, is how much energy, pull, force there will be on you. What they did is they actually had the light bulb, holding a light bulb, and they lit the light bulb, from a wireless generator that was about half a mile away, almost half a mile away. And I was like, wow, this is really cool, because they figured out how to not have that, they could transport electricity via shortwave radio, short and long wave radio waves. So AM band radio. You could basically have it go through AM radio.
Pennies no longer being produced will actually affect a lot of people. At first, I was just thinking about it in the terms of going to the store and not getting your exact change back, and so they have to round up, and therefore they're making more profit, but technically they're taking more money from the consumer. I thought that was like the issue, but then I realized this would just be like a chain reaction to them getting rid of currency. So like they would start with pennies, but then over time we would basically become a country that only uses digital currency. And therefore you would have to have a phone or some sort of electricity to be able to access your money. And then that made me think of people who don't have homes and live on the streets. And if cash is basically useless, then how would they get the money? And if they don't have electricity or a phone, how can they access that? And then on top of that, now if everyone is solely reliant on their money being able to be accessed through technology, then what happens if there's an issue with technology where it blacks out? What happens if there's an issue with the technology where there's some sort of spyware, malware, something, hack, and like all of it's digital and there's no cash. So there's no way to actually go about getting any other means of having that money. Like, I think it would just be a domino effect of things like that. Like, yeah, right now it's just the penny that they're taking away, but like that's going to basically cause companies to change the prices so they can make more money. And then over time, we will just become a digital currency country. And then when that happens, what happens to the people who don't have access to technology and electricity, if that's the only way you can access your money? Like, that's diabolical. It really is.
Okay, so Bitcoin is the biggest scam out there. It's run by the Pentagon. You don't have to trust me. Just do some basic research, okay? All right? And ask yourself, hey, who funded this thing? Who has the expertise and technology to fund this thing? Who is financing the hardware to run Bitcoin? Who benefits from Bitcoin? Why would they want Bitcoin around, right? And the answer is the CIA and the Pentagon. And that's the only answer.
Stick with me. Stick with me. Stick with me. Billionaires implode the United States economy. They implode the United States economy and we dump our debt into crypto. This is the forced transition into the CBDC, whatever the fuck that is, the digital banking system. Basically a new Fed, publicly owned privately, publicly owned by private hands that dictate our entire lives and we have no control over. And the best or the worst part about this is that half of these owners or the shareholders in this new like Fed won't even be from the United States, at least born here, or their interest won't have anything to do with the livelihood of the average American person. It'll be for themselves and their own financial empires that they'll get from privatizing this whole entire country. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to say, okay, initially like a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, I thought that it was going to be a civil war or a blackout that was going to basically distract the people so much. But now I'm assuming that the use of AI data centers is going to drive the United States into a blackout, which will then give billionaires a perfect opportunity to work behind the scenes and then just recraft society. And then as we turn the lights back on to the world we live in, they'll just make sure that they integrate the world they want in and be like, oh, this is how shit was always supposed to be. Or this is the only way we can come back to normal. And then this is the new normal. But we're digital banking, right? And this is actually stemming from a video that I just watched from a recording of a slave that was saying that life was worse after the machines came in and stole their cotton picking jobs, which reminds me a lot of what's happening today. AI and technology is coming in to take human beings' jobs, and there's no like awareness, or there's no telling of like what economy is going to exist and how much or how little opportunity will exist in that economy. So, you know what happened? And maybe this was after Reconstruction, but after the machines came in and took slaves' jobs, slaves had to sharecrop. So what I'm trying to say with this video is that, in short, because this could be like 20 minutes, the modern day form of sharecropping will be existing on a company town. But the difference is that instead of the money or the wealth that you have basically be a fraction of the harvest that you get from whatever land or plantation you're existing on, you're going to be doing dirty work for some billionaire or some billionaire collective that owns that company town, really company state that has the potential to happen in America. You will be at the mercy of this billionaire collective that owns your state privately, and you will be forced to use whatever Bitcoin they've decided to invest their personal fortunes into, appreciating them, not you, because you're dependent on it more than they are. And the scary thing is that you guys aren't recognizing, if we just automatically shift ourselves into this Bitcoin digital banking system, most of you guys will be beyond piss poor. Like, you guys will have fractions of Bitcoin, if not in debt Bitcoin. You think you have money now with your dollars? You will have fractions if we just automatically made a transition like this. So that's what I'm thinking. They'll start to say, well, the only way that we can disperse UBI, the only way that we can disperse universal anything is if we're on Bitcoin, we're on cryptocurrency. And then people will be forced to use this crypto bullshit. And this is also why I say it's a scam. And everyday poor people, mind you, everyday poor people will be basically using Bitcoin like V-Bucks to only buy things that will allow them access to survival to get to tomorrow in the company town that they're enslaved to. And you probably won't be able to leave from there. Or you won't have enough access to acquire finances or to get funding to leave. And even if you do leave, you're probably going to have some time limit to force you to come back because you have to work so much there. Because money just doesn't mean anything anymore. Like, there's nothing you can really do to free yourself from this system anymore. Like, you allowed billionaires to create a faulty system, like some bullshit organization called Doge, and destroy almost all welfare. Like, any type of welfare initiative fund program, like, was almost cut through, spliced. And you think these people aren't going to just transition that into forcing us onto digital banking and then basically profiting off of every single dime that we make for them, mind you? Bro, you are so fucked if you're an American, bro. Good luck, my nigga. Good luck. Good luck. When do you think the AI girlfriends are going to be showing up? I feel like I want to be a part of that.
What you're saying to me as a layperson is that in my lifetime, machines will have consciousness.
Consciousness, yes, could be engineered in a machine. Or at least we can have machines that are human-like. And we believe they have consciousness.
Will they have this smoothness of skin, and will they look realistic?
You're talking about sex bots.
I'm just curious to see.
You're
right, I was going with sex bots, but...
Yeah. But the funny thing about sex robots is most people that get sex robots, they don't get it for the sex. They get it for, like, intimacy. Not sexual intimacy, but just somebody being there. The emotional connection, not the sexual.
I saw a long time ago a documentary about real dolls and people marrying them. What I was fascinated about is the cuddling and then watching TV together and stuff like that. I've just been able to find human girlfriends and stuff. So
that's really impressive.
Thanks, man. Yeah. Thanks. Hey.
Yeah.
Come on.
You know what I mean? Can I ask you a question, Queen?
Please ask me anything you want.
the future, I know that your books that you write is based upon the future and how you was talking about transhumanism and stuff like that. But they'll keep coming out with these different so-called variants. Where is the future heading now?
The future is headed just like what I got in Matrix 4, Evolution. You got to read the book. Evolution is telling you that there are new machines on the rise, a greater threat than before in the first Matrix. Now the machines, instead of Agent Smith has evolved into a greater threat, a newer type of machine. I'm talking about the Matrix world, which is the virtual world, which is Metaverse. I've been talking about that for the last
the Metaverse.
11 years. That's right. Metaverse has been in my book for 11 years.
Wow. So the Metaverse is like the Matrix.
It is the Matrix.
Oh, shit.
It's virtual reality. I was talking about the virtual skateboard, the virtual jail cells, which is called the penal cell, the virtual penal cells and stuff. You know, I've been talking about the new virtual companies and the Bitcoins and all of this stuff, and where the iPad is going to go to in the future when the satellites start ruling. The iPads are going to become a little 6x9 thin tablet everybody's going to have in their hands, but it becomes everything. It is our television. It is our newspaper. It is our magazine, our schools, our jobs. It become one. It become one with the satellite. It becomes everything. Do you see what I'm saying?
Indeed, that's what Elon Musk is doing right now with the Starlink, huh?
The Neuralink.
Yeah, but I've been talking about it. He's been listening. Elon Musk has been listening to me for years. Matrix and Sophia Stewart came way before any Elon Musk even got out there with Tesla's mess, with Tesla's patents. Okay,
nice.
Sophia Stewart was already in the Matrix before Elon Musk was ever even heard of. Am I lying or not? Matrix,
you
March
existed before
19,
Elon Musk.
That's right.
Yeah, I agree.
That's right. I'm talking about my work in the movies.
your work, exactly. It's
the
all
work
there.
in the movies and the books existed before Elon Musk, so I don't know why they're listening to him. Hell, you can read the books and see the movies and see what I'm talking about. They just give it a new name, a new twist. It's been called the Matrix world, the Matrix attraction. I was talking about the visors and everything. I gave them one page. That's all. That's why you don't see it go any further, because they didn't get the rest of the pages.
You influence a lot of writers and
they want to take over using technology and turn human beings into transhuman beings, so to disconnect us from the heart completely, and that way then they can finally take control of this planet, link it up to all the other prison planets, and then have a one whole prison system.
You were mentioned earlier the idea that the modern world used to promise radical life extension and doesn't anymore. It seems very clear to me that a number of people deeply involved in artificial intelligence see it as a kind of mechanism for transhumanism, for transcendence of our mortal flesh, and either some kind of creation of a successor species or some kind of merger of mind and machine. And do you think that's just all kind of irrelevant fantasy? Or do you think it's just hype? Do you think people are trying to raise money by pretending that we're going to build a machine god, right? Is it hype? Is it delusion? Is it something you worry about? I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would,
this is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit
in this. Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also would, I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
And so, it's always, I don't know, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And, there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or a transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. And a transsexual is someone where you change your penis into a vagina. And we can then debate how well those surgeries work. But we want more transformation than that. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And okay, we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body. And then Orthodox Christianity, by the way, the critique Orthodox Christianity has of this is these things don't go far enough. Like that transhumanism is just changing your body, but you also need to transform your soul, and you need to transform your whole self.
The goal of transhumanism is exactly that. It's to transcend our current human state and then to enter into singularity. So some people say, oh, this sounds sci-fi. It does, but it's really what they're after, and you can read their works because they're not content. We're always uncontent with our own infirmity and our own brokenness. We either want God just to affirm it all, just accept me, God, no change, this is, who I am, quote unquote, and God has to accept me or else he's a meanie. Or, we're such a dirty, stinking loser, what a pathetic creature man is. And we're gonna make ourselves better because God made us just these pathetic, yeah, we're broken, we have sin, well, the problem is we have sin. That's why we have sickness, brokenness, war, all of these things. Man inflicts it on himself. Man inflicts it on himself. In his freedom, man is his own worst enemy. And so we hate that fact, but rather than repent and return according to the pattern that God has given to us, we say, no, we want our own road. And technology, yes, I think, indisputably, unlike any other time before us, gives us this illusion of being able to do that. And so in that spirit, yes, when I essentially it's a self-hatred of who I am as a human being, right? Transhumanism in its ultimate state, what's his name, Yuval Harari, right? And other big spokesmen, preachers of this, hate humanity. There's a disdain for what it means to be human, It's kind of like, sorry, my media reference, I watched it a long time ago, The Matrix, right? When they, there's that film where he's just like, humans are filthy, disgusting.
Human beings are a disease, a cancer of this planet. You are a plague. I hate this place, this zoo, this prison, this reality, whatever you want to call it.
Predictive programming, whatever we want to call it in a lot of the movies, But there's that spirit behind it. It's just this filthy, it's almost platonic also, right? Because it's like a repackaged, to some degree, not 100%, but it's like a repackaged Platonism, because it was all of this matter, it's filthy, it's just, there's something dirty about it. And so I have to transcend that. I have to escape from the body. The body's my prison, right? And I have to escape from this body and transcend it into this, whatever it is. Christianity, we're not trying to escape, we're trying to purify it. We're trying to make the body the way it truly is intended to be, right? Because it's a good creation by a good God. And all of created matter around us is that same thing. It's good. The problem isn't matter, the problem is sin. And so, but transhumanism has that same thing. It senses something is wrong, and something is wrong. But rather than listen to God who says the answer is Jesus Christ, it says, no, that can't be that. It can't be that. We want our own answer. And then we just become disgusted with matter and the confines of my body, the remembrance that I have to die.
Research shows that by 2026, 25% of the world population will use the metaverse at least 1 hour a day. That's 2 billion people. Here's why that's not really a crazy number, and it can be much more than that. As a species, we went from a very analog life to a very digitally dependent one. A study in 2022 found that 5 billion people in the world use the internet, and everybody uses the internet an average of 7 hours a day. Just think about how much we use our phones and our computers every day for work, for entertainment, for social media, for so many things. The metaverse is just a fully immersed version of the internet we have and use today. The metaverse will be accessed through augmented reality and virtual reality headsets. It will deliver the same functionalities we have today, but it will allow us to push the limits on experiences that until today haven't been possible.
Somebody said that they looked into the CERN machine and saw the future, and in the future, patriarchy, organized religion, colonialism, white supremacy collapsed, and they trying to fight that reality through mind control and fear, and like fear-mongering people into thinking that we're still stuck in the systems and institutions of previous centuries. And that's why Kendrick Lamar said, turn this TV off. Not the TV, turn your phone off too. But wait until the end of the video. So I think that it's crazy though, because at the end of the day, it's like Oedipus. Like, there's no getting around fate. There's also no getting around retribution. The universe don't even play like that. Like, you gotta get yours. So I don't even know why they think that they could play these games. It's just literally not gonna work. And I've been feeling a message of it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire. Like, when I think about our current administration, when I think about all of the evil forces that be in our world right now that are really trying hard to maintain control, all I can think is every plan that they try to enforce to maintain control is going to backfire. Everything that they do that they think is going to keep them in control of people and allow them to make money and profit and exploit people, it's all going to backfire. It doesn't work. Y'all don't, your time is up. Them spells that your ancestors put on people, they're done. Like, your time, you had your time. You had about half a millennia, if not a full millennia or two, to do what y'all needed to do. You did it. Your time is up, babe. We've come full cycle. Next, like, hello.
The future does not exist. It has to be made up. So these tech bros are not predicting the future. They're programming you for a future that fits the narrative that they want to see. And so a lot of y'all have given up even planning for your future, not understanding that you do have control over your own. But you have lost the zest for creating your own future because you're listening to them and you're adopting their narrative for yourself. You stopped imagining. You stopped dreaming. You stopped writing it down. You stopped putting your calendar in place. You need to stand on business about your future. We are in what's called the digital indoctrination age. These people are very, very committed and dedicated to making sure that you become programmed in your mind to stop imagining. We are in a heavy tech transition. Human evolution is happening right now. And those of you who are looping out, and I know everybody is not going to receive this. I know everybody is not going to listen. Everybody's not going to take this in. But because traditional indoctrination is shaky, it's on shaky ground right now. They're fighting tooth and nail trying to get it back. But digital indoctrination, because we got these phones in our hands 80% of the day, the other, 10% we sleep. I'm sorry, not 10, 20% we sleep. You have got to get a control of your time, your energy, and of course your mind. Put yourself on a strict program. You need to dream again. You need to get a poster board out. Start doing your vision boards again. If that's what your thing is. I can't stand vision boards, but whatever. You need to focus and stand on business about your business.
It's cool. It's cool to get on the computer, but don't let the computer get on you. It's cool. It's cool to use the computer. Don't let the computer use you. You all saw The Matrix. There is a war going on. The battlefield's in the mind. And the prize is the soul. So, just be careful. Be very careful.
In China, we don't use cash anymore. We adopted the Alipay, the WeChat Pay. So if you go to China and you use cash, people will find it's very weird.
I was in Hong Kong just this weekend, and you literally need to pay taxi drivers, just cash. You can't use a freaking card. And I'm like, how is that possible in Hong Kong in 2023?
Everywhere she goes, Oh-Young Hao-Yu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Hao-Yu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are.
It's a mechanism pushes you to become a better citizen.
It's big data meets Big Brother, expanding how the government monitors, understands, and ultimately controls its 1.4 billion citizens. Thanks to advances in artificial intelligence and facial recognition. and a web of more than 200 million surveillance cameras.
Are people bothered by privacy concerns?
We think the lot of camera keep the safety is really good. We can accept it.
Companies are experimenting with the algorithms to help the government create the new national social credit system. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Jo Ai-Ni are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month. Like the man who carried a drunk person home. A good deed, she says. Good social credit gets rewarded with perks like cheap loans and travel deals. But a bad score means public shame and worse. Huang Hui-jun lost a court case and didn't pay. Now he's on a government blacklist. I can't buy airplane or train tickets, he says, and the list goes on. Being discredited makes it hard to get a job or put kids in top schools. The social credit system will go nationwide next year, and few here are willing to criticize it. Something that may pose a risk itself for a bad score and the life that comes with it. Janice Mackey-Frere, NBC News, Beijing.
Primary school in China know exactly when someone isn't paying attention. These headbands measure each student's level of concentration. The information is then directly sent to the teacher's computer and to parents. Good job! Classrooms have robots that analyze students' health and engagement levels. Students wear uniforms with chips that track their locations. There are even surveillance cameras that monitor how often students check their phones or yawn during classes. But schools say it wasn't hard for them getting parental consent to enroll kids into what is one of the world's largest experiments in AI education. A program that's supposed to boost students' grades while also feeding powerful algorithms. At this
Do not try and bend the spoon. That's impossible. Instead, only try to realize the truth.
What truth?
There is no spoon.
There is no spoon?
Then you'll see that it is not the spoon that bends, it is only yourself.
The Oracle will see you now.